The next section on our app are the actions. So when you're ready to make a deal, these are the actions you're going to take. The actions section has 4 main actions. The first one is send a deal. That is, you send a deal, an offer to another group. We have cancel a deal. That is, you don't want the deal anymore, you want to cancel it. We have flex points that you can send. That's a way to give other groups more flex points. Remember, flex points give you flexibility. It helps your score go higher. It helps you to have a good result. So you can give them as a gift. And you can message a group. Messaging a group is a way to contact other groups if you don't know who they are or you don't have another way to contact them. Now this messaging is interesting because when you begin to play the game, you may not know who is in the class because we don't have a classroom. Maybe you can use the messaging a group here to send a message, and then once you know them, you can tell them something like your line group or your email or maybe your phone number, etc. You can do anything like that. However, I as the teacher, I as the school, so I'm the teacher, spell my teacher here, that's me here, okay? I cannot, I cannot give away your information to other students. So that's not legal in Taiwan. So I have to be very careful to not do that. So it's a little bit troublesome. It may seem inconvenient, but I don't do that. So you need to do it yourself. Now, of course, be careful and make sure that you're talking to people in the class, right? Don't do something silly. But here is one way that you can help yourself by using this send a message. Because you can send a message to a group, even though you don't know who they are, and you can ask them who they are, or maybe ask them to join your group or your line group or your texting group or your social network. And then you can talk to them that way. Or you can talk to them this way. Either way is okay. You cannot send a message to more than one group. You can only send it to one group at a time. Now, if I come down on the app lower, at the very bottom, you can see Marketplace. In the Marketplace, you can see the group numbers. So if there's a group number here, that group does exist. If the group number is not here, then it doesn't exist. So that's one way you can try to contact some of the groups. You could send a message to every group and tell them what your contact information is. You could create a line group, for example, and have everyone join it. But again, that's up to you, any way you want to do it. Maybe you know some students too. However, I would remind you it's a good idea to try to contact different groups, many groups, not just one, because the more groups you contact, the more chance you have to make a good deal. If you only contact the same groups all of the time, it's going to be hard for you to really do a good job in the negotiation. You do not have to make all your deals with one group. You do not have to sell all your products to one group. Your group can sell to many groups. You can split your products into many smaller deals. Or you can make one big deal is okay too. Or many small deals. Everything is okay in this game. Everything is possible. Let me see, this is my group here, and then there's many other groups, just like that, and I can contact them, and then I can make a big deal with one group and maybe a big deal with another group. That's okay. Or I can make many small deals, so just keep that in mind. Alright, so that's how you can find a group. Let's go ahead and make a deal. Maybe I talked to a group and I made a negotiation. We had an offer, a counter offer, and finally we agree on terms. So I go ahead and I press this button here, and this is the sale invoice I'm going to send. you need to give some information here, and you need to be careful because if you get this wrong, you're going to have to cancel the deal, or you're going to have to maybe contact the other group that you sent to by accident. It's very troublesome. And you could lose money this way, just like in a real business. If you make a deal and it was wrong or you did something wrong, the other group may accept your deal, may accept your final offer, and you have to pay money or lose money or send a product and you lose money, and it could hurt you. So just like in the real world, you need to be very careful about this. So the first part is a counterpart. The counterpart is the group you're going to make the deal with. So these groups are just numbers. So it's going to be like group 1 maybe, or group 2 maybe, or group 12, or group 32, something like that. Then you're going to indicate the number of units. So the units could be something like 10, or just 1 is possible. That's unusual, but maybe 1,000 units. So it's important that you understand what is the product and what is the unit that we're dealing with. So you need to always come back and look at your product so you understand it. Otherwise, you're going to make a silly mistake. You're not going to understand things. Of course, the price is probably the easiest thing to understand. So you need to get the price right here. And you should usually include the decimal point. So maybe you're going to sell it at 1,220 point, right? In this class, we're going to use the decimal point. We're not going to use the comma. No, we don't do that. That's the kind of way in the EU, they often use the comma for the smaller decimal point. We're going to use the decimal point. Okay, then we can choose the quality. And the quality uses a drop-down menu. And we can choose the delivery. Delivery uses a drop-down menu. And then in here, this is a very important part. This is called the deal ID. In business, we often have numbers like this: ID numbers, identification numbers, deal numbers, transaction numbers. Some kind of number that will have a connection with your money. So it's super important. Super, 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 super important. You cannot forget this. You cannot get this wrong. If you send money to another bank or you send money to another company, you need to have some kind of transaction number or ID. That's what we have here. So inside of here, you need to put an ID. Now, can you make an ID? Like maybe I can say, I want my ID to be ABC123. And the answer to that is no, you cannot do that. You must use a special number. Where do we get the special number from? Well, right here. Here's the number. It's made for you. This is the number. So you can see the number right here. Now, what can you do? You can try to copy the number, or you can press this link here, and it will copy the number for you. Okay. Now, what do I do once I have the ID number, the deal ID? Well, now you need to take that ID number and give it to your other group. So you might want to not forget this number. Now, they will see the number. They can see it, but they may have many deals from many groups. So you need to be sure that you know what deal goes to what group. So you need to remember this stuff, or you need to keep a record of this, or you need to be very careful. Just like in the real world, in real business, it's very normal that we have an individual working at a big company, and then they maybe make a phone call or use a computer transfer to another big company, and this might be the bank. And over at the bank, they receive this number, and they go ahead and the money flows over like this. And then all of a sudden something happens and they find out, uh-oh, I sent the wrong money to the wrong bank. And when that happens, that's very bad. And it happens a lot. You would be surprised. So in this class, we're trying to practice You must be careful when it comes to money, when it comes to deals, when it comes to offers. You must be very, very careful. And how do you want to be careful? You want to make sure that this deal ID, you don't get mixed up. You keep it clear. Okay, so that's how you make a deal. Now, this is just sending a deal. It doesn't mean that the deal is finished or we're all done. It just means you send it. You send what here we call the sale invoice. How do you accept a deal? We'll look at that next.